Another definition of purity is one's ability to see the goodness of the body without anything else tainting it. When something is tainted, it means that something is contaminating it. There is something that doesn't belong there. The world is tainting our view, and we must purify that view. We have been lied to again and again about the meaning of our bodies. Pope John Paul II also says that when people look at you as a man, they should be able to say that in your masculinity, I see an image of Christ, of Jesus. And when they look at your femininity, they should be able to see an image of heaven. What is heaven? Remember, you can answer questions. Okay. Heaven is the dwelling place of the Lord. Okay, Jesus lives in heaven. We all know that. So what is a woman's womb? It is a figure here on earth of that same place. As we said earlier though, it's not a metaphor. Our Lady actually conceived Jesus in her womb. She allowed the Word to become flesh in her womb. What does this say about you girls and your bodies? God, who doesn't need us, doesn't require us, is above us, desired to become flesh. And out of all the places in the world, he chose to live inside you for 9 months. What's he trying to tell you? He's trying to tell you that your bodies are beautiful. The world will tell you different things from day to day. 1 minute you're being told you're too fat. The next minute you're too skinny. The next minute you're too fat and you're too skinny. I'd be confused. God wants you to forget about all that, and he wants you to remember that he chose to take refuge in you. On this earth, he chose to take refuge in you. We can't imagine profaning or mistreating heaven, which is where Jesus lives. Do not mistreat your beautiful, feminine bodies or let anyone else, because God left them, your bodies, as a sign of his dwelling place, which is heaven. Why do you think we feel shame here on earth? God said, I tell you this, keep my commandments. To keep these will give you eternal happiness. Did Adam keep God's commandments? No. It'd be very hard to get any answers out of you, like my class. No, Adam did not keep God's commandments. And because he didn't, how does he now view Eve's body? He doesn't see God in her anymore. He sees her body as something to satisfy his own selfish kicks. And all the guys in the room here know that perhaps some of us have been spared, but you go through a stage where you don't understand the real meaning of a body. Don't understand the real meaning of your own body, let alone the meaning of a girl's body. So he now looks at her body as a thing, no longer as a symbol of God's love for us. Eve knew, and all women know deep inside their hearts, that they were never ever meant to be treated as something for a guy's selfish kicks. So when Eve covers her body to protect herself from the lustful look of Adam, what is she doing? She's protecting herself. It's important to remember that up until now, she hasn't felt the need to cover herself. Why do we cover our bodies? Because they're bad and dirty? In Christopher West's theology of the body, his interpretation of theology of the body, I should say, he says, we do not cover the body because it is bad. We cover it because it is so very good. And we need to protect our bodies because we live in a fallen world. We live in 2010 where we have original sin on our souls and we are not able to see the body as we should. Pope John Paul II says that shame is a self-defense mechanism. So it's normal, it's good. The body kicked in after original sin. We feel shame to protect ourselves. It enables us to protect ourselves from being used and mistreated in this fallen world that we live in. Okay, Is Eve the only one who covered herself? Good answer. No. Okay. What does that mean? If he covered himself too, what does that mean? It means that he too felt threatened. Therefore, lust is not just a man's problem. Now, we need to define lust as a sexual desire void of the love of God. Sexual desire void of the love of God. Okay, so Adam felt that he was being lusted after as well. Eve wasn't looking at him in the proper way anymore either. So women also experience lust, maybe in a different way. But just because it is in a different way, it is no less serious. Men generally experience their lustful desires as geared towards physical gratification at the expense of a woman. Women generally experience lust. We need to say generally because not all people are exactly the same, but women generally experience lust as geared towards emotional gratification at the expense of a man. Generally, women don't look at pornography because they're wired differently to guys. You're probably thinking, thank God I'm not wired like a guy. But that's the way we are, and there's much power in our manhood as well. We need to direct it in the right ways. Women need the context, the story, the romance. But this is no less of a distortion of what love and the body is for. Just because it is possibly less noticeable, when you treat another human being as only a means for your selfish gratification, you are lusting and it destroys your ability to see the body properly. Okay, that's the end of my theology of the body lesson. Okay, has everyone learned anything? Yes, good. Okay, now we're going to go into some more practical stuff now. The talk is about modesty, and I thought it important to outline what the body is truly about. Some of us know, some of us have heard these teachings before. They're not mine, by the way. Some of them, people have heard them before, but it's good to have a reminder and a refresher of what it's really about. Okay, there's different definitions of modesty, which can be applied depending on the context or situation. But one that seems to fit quite well is that it is to be proper in our speech, behaviour and dress. Many people think of modesty and think, oh, it's just the way mum says I have to dress. But there's a few umbrellas that it comes underneath. These definitions are quite helpful. The point to be modest means to be proper in our speech, behaviour and dress. This is accurate and it covers modesty well. However, we live in a society where standards have been thrown away. And to be proper, what does that mean these days? Everything's relative. Well, to be proper for me is to do this, but to be proper for you is to do what you think is proper. And we end up with contrary meanings of the word. So it's important to clarify it. More accurately, to be truly modest is to be pure. And to be pure is to allow people to see God through our speech, behaviour and our dress. The first one I'd like to cover is our speech and gossip and slander. You know, we've all got problems with it. A gossip betrays a confidence, it says in Proverbs, but a trustworthy man keeps a secret. The 8th commandment tells us, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbour. This is something that so many people have trouble with these days. And it's an important lesson to learn when to bite our tongue. There'll be people in this room who would know exactly what I'm talking about, including myself. All relationships between human beings are built on truth. Without truth and trust, there is no relationship. God is truth and the devil works on deceit, doubt and lies. The devil uses 98% truth and just that little bit, the 2% of lies, and just twists things that little bit.